This is breakfast at the Jerusalem Center. Just,
I am my really good clothing, and my goal will be to fill it out by make it tight. Just make it tight. Just walk along.
yeah, pretty good breakfast. Pretty good. Pretty good. You ready? Okay. So let me just give you a little bit of introduction here. I was hired in 1988 I was 12. Just kidding. I look 12, but I was not 12. I was hired to set up the first intensive Arabic program, which was based at the Jerusalem Center. The Jerusalem Center had only been in use for a short time, I think, like a year or two, and I think it's useful for you to understand a little bit about how peculiar we are. Okay, ahlan wa sahlan. So I was young and foolish, and I'm just older. We took 16 students to Jerusalem in January. At that time, we'd have 3 semesters of Arabic required, and then they would spend winter, spring in Jerusalem, and with some touring and so forth. And so anyway, through the 90s, 89 and on through the 90s, we were there in Jerusalem. And then when that Al-Aqsa Intifada happened, the Jerusalem Center was closed down for 7 years, and we went to Damascus and then other places. That means 89, so we are coming on 30 years of doing this. Pretty crazy. It's nobody else. I don't know anybody else has anything close to it, and certainly not. There is no other institution in the country that is as invested in terms of sending faculty, et cetera, sponsoring the kind of thing that we're doing. This has meant that we have the opportunity. We have been experimenting and tweaking and doing all kinds of things to try and improve the program, and we are just thrilled at the outcomes. I'll tell you that every now and then I think to myself, we've gone over the top. That would never occur to any of you, but not too long ago I was chatting online with I was thanking a young woman who'd given us a marvelous suggestion, and I asked her. I knew she had a very difficult. She was newly married, and landed in Oman, and was not this. Language learning was not her strongest suit, and this combination was a very stressful experience for her, and I was pretty concerned. She left, and she wouldn't reply to my emails and things. I wasn't the director of the program. I was just doing some research, and she just didn't answer. So I kind of thought, oh shoot, maybe it didn't work out so well to her. So I had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to chat with her, and I asked her how she's doing and so forth. And I said, hey, so last we talked, you were pretty stressed out. Did it get any better? And she said, no, not really. I was pretty stressed out to the end of the program. And I said, well, how do you feel about your experience? Do you feel like it was a mistake? And she said, oh no. It was one of the greatest things I ever did. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And so I sort of vindicated, you know. I have yet to meet anybody. This is pretty amazing because we've sent hundreds of students, right? I've yet to meet or hear from a student who said, this was a huge mistake. This was, you know, I've heard that in the middle of the program. I've heard that in the middle of the program. People, I will never, ever, why would I ever? And something happens that, anyway, so just so you know, this is kind of like, my wife is here, so let's pick another metaphor. I'm just going to say, marriage can be challenging, okay? And more for her than for me, but it's so worth it. So I'm so glad that we're 30-some years down the road into our experience. But just like marriage, in fact, my colleague who just retired, who helped us run the program for years and years and years, he talks about this, the marriage analogy, and that there are some things that you commit to, you get into, and they're tough, and tough is good, and yeah. But I don't want to talk about. I don't want to belabor this business about tough is good. I want to get back to. Our slides. Okay, so I'm gonna talk from the corner here, and we'll just send people oh no, that's fine. You could do that. You could stay on that, and then they won't have to be following along. Okay, let's see. Switch over. Yes. One of the first things you'll notice here about Jordan is that it is dry. Okay. Third driest, supposedly third or fourth driest country in the world. Way too many people, refugees. This is a really interesting fact. Refugees consume about twice as much water as regular Jordanians. They don't know how to live in Jordan. Okay? Jordanians use very little water, and has to be trucked in and so forth. So yeah, interesting stuff. All right, just over here. So Dead Sea, Sea of Galilee are the dark spots up there. What is this? About the Red Sea. Okay, Mediterranean oriented. Okay, so what do we have? Country right here. Saudi Arabia. Very good. Here, Egypt. Good. This is because we have problems with this sometimes. Israel, Jordan, what do we got over here? Okay, we've got, actually this is Saudi up here, Iraq starts there, and then above Damascus, Syria, and then over to above north of Haifa, 20 miles is Beirut, Lebanon, and Beirut's just up the coast there just a little bit. Jordan is an amazing place. It's like this little lifeboat in the middle of trouble, okay? So right now, down here in the Sinai Peninsula, it's like no man's land. Okay, it is Wild West, crazy, and right now the suburbs of Damascus is trouble. You're going to stand on a mountain up there. Most of you will be on that mountain, looking out, and you can just about see to Damascus. Okay, it was really, really clear. You could practically see Damascus, and bombs. All these kids are dying. I mean, all this horrific stuff. It's crazy. But Jordan is this, is this amazing, hardy little, and it's a marvelous place. All right, let's see. Let's move on down. So we are in West Amman. This is Sports City. This is our home neighborhood. The Posset Institute is right here. The apartments are, most of them were up here. We're going to hope and we move people a little bit closer to Sports City this time around. Sports City, lovely, lovely little. The King. It was a green space. There's track. There's all kinds of sports opportunities, and the tomb of the king, memorial to the king. Right, if you look around here, you'll see that there's uninhabited country here. Okay, there are Bedouins and camels and sheep and that sort of thing right there. So you have here you go. This is like about a 15-minute walk from our house. This is even closer. This was right before the Eid al-Adha, the Feast of Sacrifice. And there's a little olive grove, and they were keeping these sheep there for the feast. And so Jordan may not have a lot of water, but it still is a land of milk and honey. Where is the Holy Land? Professor Krolkos talked about crossing the river to go in the Holy Land. You were on the Holy Land before you crossed the river. Okay, it's all the traditional. If you call the Holy Land the inheritance of the children of Israel, both sides of the Jordan, and the milk and honey flowed quite well on the east side as well as the west side of the Jordan. Okay, and here is the thing that many of us love dearly, dearly, dearly: fresh figs. I will put fresh figs on your table, so that when you get from the airport and you arrive, you will find fresh figs on your table. And hopefully, you won't have a roommate like some who consume most of them before the others get to them. Fig tree in the background. Okay, please leave a fig for your friends. I am a huge lover of fresh figs, and couldn't. Yeah. Okay. So lots of other good things in Jordan, like fateh. Yum, very, very good stuff. This was our first field trip. We went to Mount Nebo, and a member family had us come over to his father is the Mukhtar of their tribe, and not a member. But anyway, they had us over, and you can see his wife clapping and dancing, and some of the students are clapping and dancing, and this was a lovely, 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 lovely example of Arab hospitality. So you're going to be offered free cab rides. What do? You don't. When the driver says, "Oh, no, this is on me. It's so great for you to be studying Arabic, and this is awesome. I want to give you this free cab ride," you were going to think, the guy can hardly pay for his children to go to school. Should I ride at his expense? No. Okay? So anyway, Arab hospitality is there for you to appreciate, but not exploit. Right, okay, here you go. Another one of our other early field trips. What is the man offering her? Figs, of course. Okay, so it just happens to be, figs. You know what was one of the most disappointing parts about this trip for me? I got some really, really cool pictures, but one of the students that was in the picture was wearing these short sleeve shirts, and I can't use them. Okay? I can't use them. Okay? So don't let that happen again. Okay? Just be cool. See, look at these sleeves. Gotta love this girl. Don't make me, and I will be all over you about shaving, about whatever. And I really don't want to do that. I really don't. But the university has ears and eyes everywhere. And anyway, the academic vice president, who's in charge of international matters, has basically said, we've got to be able to trust you, okay? And that trust comes in all kinds of things, right? And one of the ways that we signal that we hear and are saying, hey, we really appreciate that BYU is paying my salary. You don't want to pay my salary, okay? It's not great, but you do want to pay it, okay? All kinds of, literally, the equivalent, there isn't an exact equivalent, but the equivalent program, like our program, costs well over $20,000 a semester, okay? Just be thinking, heck yes, I can wear I can wear, you tell me what kind of sleeves you want me to wear. Save me 10 grand? No problem, I'm on, okay? So if you have a problem with it, talk to me, because I'm a really reasonable guy. If I can talk you into it. So there we are, Sports City, right? We were just talking about Sports City. This is Heather, who is now serving as a missionary in San Diego. The first sister pair in the world that I know of that are teaching Arabic. And this is Heather, like the first day, some of you asked about running. I've told you about the running trails, and I showed a few of these, this picture. But she happened to meet the captain of the volleyball team, and this is like her second day in Amman. Very cool. All right. Qasid, the Qasid Institute. If you go to just Google Qasid, and if you go under, I think it's under White Qasid. Anyway, one of these has a little video tour of the Qasid Institute if you want to see what it looks like. It occupies a couple of floors of an office building near Sports City. Yeah. So let's look at some of the people you get to meet. Jumana, some of you know Jumana. Who was in Jumana's class? Somebody was in Jumana's class, right? No? Did you in Jumana's class? No? I thought she started, anyway. So Jumana is one of the students. Everybody else was some of the Arab members who were in the Sunday school class that day, and I just thought, oh, well, we've got to capture the Sunday school class. Ramon, for example, fought with the PLO, and Armenian guy who has scars he can show you, and has found a different way of doing things. Max was going to kill himself. He despaired of life, and some interesting things happened. But I'm not going to tell you the story. You have to hear it from him. Yeah. Anyway, each person here has a really, really, really awesome story. So while we're there, we get to go and do some fun things. Meet some interesting people. So this is a group of students who were particularly interested in refugee issues and went with us to the Ministry of Social Development. This happened late in the program. A lot of other students would have gone had it not been so late in the program. Anyway, long story. But so we have students who have interned at the Ministry of Social Development. Matt Bird, all of you probably know, or many of you. Anyway, terrific experience. Ministry, this is the nicest room in the ministry. Doesn't look like this. In other places, interesting. Here we are in one of the larger meeting rooms where we hold class together for all of us. And this is the director of the Qasid Institute, Omar, who is Pakistani fellow from Pittsburgh Steeler fan, who has incredibly incredibly good Arabic. And we're talking about الحرية والاستقرار. So freedom versus stability, and cultural views of freedom and stability. And we had a couple of quite interesting. But anyway, we have some lecturers who come in and will give little talks. Back to the field trips. This is a field trip out to an olive press, and this is freshly pressed olive oil, and the guy having lunch, almost this bread, you're gonna love this bread. The guy having lunch invited a couple of us over to come over and share his lunch with him, and that was very, very good. Let's see. I think I have got. Yeah, that's good. So I want to tell you. Switch over here. Kirk it is. I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, food. I'm always the guy taking food pictures. Oh yeah, I was just going to show you a couple of these things from the olive harvest. There we go. So here we are going into the olive, and there are the olives going up to be pressed, and into the presser, and olive oil flowing into the thing, getting ground up. Yum. And here's our friend inviting us. I think this is the other. Yeah, there. Yeah, very fun day at the olive press. So. Then we walked down, went to help families out who were harvesting olive trees, and got involved in helping to pick out the branches and stuff like that. And yeah, old olive tree, folks who were harvesting wanting to take pictures with their students, and yeah. So anyway. Pretty good sized olive tree. All right. Let's go back to. So, yes. So, one thing you get to do is you get to get good at reading handwriting. You can't probably see this one very well. This guy's handwriting is impassable. Oh, Lynn, there you are. Okay, a little Christmas caroling at the house. I got to show you though. I wanted to show you this other Christmas caroling thing we did. Another lecturer. Yeah, very funny guy. More fun guys. Oh, this is Thanksgiving feast. Sunday school gang. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we had some. Coptic friends over to sing carols, and here they're singing. I didn't know I had to put the audio in, did I? Lynn, make sure that we start singing Christmas carols about Halloween.
Afton fafkor benefmo aftishos os ero ari ochas vojem miromim balinos ovokol eviveri.
So basically what you're looking at is that the whole Arab world is in Oman. I had a student one day who was having a hard day, and he was kind of getting down on himself, and and he happened to notice this guy across the street on crutches with just one leg, and when we were talking to him, and the guy was a fighter who had been in fighting in Libya and was there for medical treatment. You meet people with amazing stories, yeah. So one of the things I wanted to do this, kind of just give you a little bit of an overview of some of the cool stuff happening. The other thing I want to talk about is where our experience sort of where it fits contextually. Like some people make the mistake of seeing the experience, their Jordan experience, as their one and only shot to make it. It's make it or break it, right? It's like, this is it. I'm never going to be in the Middle East again. Believe me, you do not know that. From past experience of observing students about what is going to happen. And so sometimes people can load up a lot of unrealistic expectations. That's one of the biggest problems in study abroad in general, not our program. Just study abroad in general is like, I'm going to go, you can fill in the blank, it goes like this. I'm going to go immerse myself in the culture, and I'm going to suck it all up. And then people go immerse themselves in the culture and they can't breathe because of the fire hose of you go out there and you step into just imagine stepping into the stream of Arabic that is coming at you, and culture and so forth that is coming at you, and it's only natural that you need to step back and say, whew, I need to breathe, okay? That was stuff, whew, I need to breathe. And the Closet Institute is a really great place to breathe. It's a very, very soft landing. In fact, Ben and I were going to measure stress response, and we had we were hooking students up with all these wires and stuff like that to measure their interviews, their OPIs on the first day, because we had pretty good experience. We measured OPIs that were done here on campus. We were doing blood pressure. That first measurement, we were doing blood pressure, and during their telephone OPIs, and we got some great stressed about people, especially when the blood pressure machine malfunctioned and just kept pumping and pumping and pumping back. She really got stressed. So we thought we would try this in Jordan, but we got better equipment. We got a really fancy thing for keeping track of breathing, heart rate, and people's fingers, hands were getting sweaty and that sort of thing. We were so all excited, and it was like totally boring. They had these interviews were so interesting and fun, and the people were so welcoming that hardly anybody even had a blip on their thing. But so anyway, Closet Institute, lovely landing. So people have this experience of we use the oral proficiency interview. Let's just put a couple of measures in here. So intermediate, mid, intermediate, high, advanced low, advanced mid, advanced high, and I really should put them. Space them out better, because the distance from intermediate mid to low is like 1, and this distance is maybe like 2 or 3, and this distance is like 10, and this distance is like 20, or they're not equidistant. Okay, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So So if you get some sort of sense of that. So so people will come, and if you're pretty low on vocabulary and haven't, for whatever reason, haven't done a lot of listening comprehension, preparation, etc. There are a lot of different reasons why somebody might test at one thing. Sometimes it's just because the tester had a bad day. Okay, so don't get too invested in test results. So on average, let's just talk on average about a student who comes and it's pretty rare for somebody to the typical thing is that somebody can make maybe a 2. Every now and then somebody will move like three levels. That's usually because they got really lucky in their interview and happened to perform at advanced mid, but probably couldn't sustain that all the time. Okay, so people are typically moving roughly. It would be a really great thing just to move from intermediate high to advanced low. That's a great thing. So that's all lovely. And you'll see people who will do this, and we'll have maybe somebody there's 1 or 2 people will come in and do this sort of thing. So bottom line is, what is happening here? What does everybody have in common? They're all moving forward. Thank you. They're all moving forward, for crying out loud, right? And we actually had there's a research center at the University of Maryland called the Center for Advanced Native Language, and they did part of our proking and prodding thing. We had students take like 3-hour aptitude tests. Okay, yeah, you're so lucky. I might beg you to do something, but I'm not going to have you do 3-hour aptitude tests. It was a good experience, and this is a $60 million outfit, right? This is a major research center that was looking at our students and our study abroad experience with us. We're part of the research team, and guess what they found after? They're looking to say, well, what happens on study abroad? You have to have a critical mass of language. What can you do? And one of the conclusions that they came to, I can show you this. This quote was, in a good program, every student makes real significant progress. I mean, if I were to show you the statistics for, like for example, Russian study abroad. Right? For a semester of Russian study abroad, the gains are about half what we're getting. About half on average what we're getting. Now that's obviously because we have all kinds of things going for us. We have you. You're not going out and getting hammered on vodka on the weekend, and maybe every other night or every night to forget about whatever's happening. Right? There's a lot of reasons why. Seriously, I've had colleagues come here from major universities and said, "I wish I could get my students to work as hard as your students, and not be absent Monday morning because they're hungover and things like that." So everybody you can count on this. If you will show up and play the game. Just show up, be there in class. You don't have to be the star student. You don't have to be phenomenally prepared. You just try and do your best every day. You will make great progress. Now, we every year we have students who drop off the radar screen. Just drop off. They just drop off for 2-3 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks. And I know. You think I know, exactly. They're, and it's for very valid reasons, right? They couldn't get they didn't make arrangements to get their medication into country, and then they couldn't get it in the country, right? Not a good scenario. Other personal things happening, and so forth. So just know that that it will be there'll be a challenge. Jaron will talk to us here in a moment. Jaron, do you know anybody who just sailed through no personal challenges over the whole semester?
Besides you?
Besides me, no, of course
nobody.
not.
I don't know. Whatever it is, people just, it seems like it's kind of marriage, you know? It's like, it's just for whatever reason, it's, you know, people have some challenges, and that's good. That's good. That's why we do these things, right? If you went on a study abroad and it wasn't a challenge to you, you should ask for a refund, right? So anyway, one challenge we do see though is that students have a tendency to kind of look right and left, right, and think, wow, that person seems to be, they're just speaking so much better than I am. And we've only been here for 2 weeks, and they're just speaking so much better than I am. And then what ends up happening then? Right? Then that can lead to, oh gosh, I'm just no good, and I need a mental health day. I'm going to stay home, and you know, and then turns into 2 mental health days, and then. Don't go down that road. It's just like, go, man, go. Look at that person. They're making all that progress. I can do that. I may not move as fast as them, but hot dang, look what they're doing. You stay in the game. You get, you know, you got forward progress. And let me tell you about Zach's dad. Okay, just a little bit. So Zach, wave your hand if you don't know Zach. Zach's dad was one of the slowest students I've ever seen come out of the gate, okay? But Zach's dad is not a quitter. And he, and you know what was really hard was, he has his brother, Jamal, who is like language learner on steroids, right? So it had to be so, I just can't imagine how hard it was. It must have been for Zach's dad to have to work so hard and watch Jamal just go, like, you know, the Roadrunner, you know, cartoons, like, yeah, that's it. It's like, there goes Jamal. And they don't know, no kidding. But Zach's dad, man, he went to Jerusalem on was it 95 or something like that. Anyway, in the 90s, he went to Jerusalem in the 90s and 95. And he came back and, you know, was a little better, but it was not happening for and he used to come in and used to ask me for letters of recommendation, and I would just think, okay. And he didn't ask for like little letters. He wasn't saying like, oh, you know, there's this, you know, Podunk U has a program that I'm thinking about. Now, he wanted Marshall scholarships and, you know, and Rhodes scholarships. I mean, it was like crazy off the charts kind of thing. Nobody was asking for these kinds of things. And I would just write them and say, this guy is one of the hardest working people I know. And I was at a point where I would think, man, Should I say, you should try something else? You know, it was really, it was painful, right? And so he applied for a Fulbright to go to Jordan, and I wrote him a letter, and I thought, okay. I couldn't say, this is a really strong language learner. I definitely was happy to say, we got a hard worker here. So about 6 months later, we bump into Ahmed in Jordan, Zach's dad, and I'm trying to remember what I was doing there. This would have been, it doesn't matter. Anyway, bump into Ahmed in Jordan. He can talk. I mean, he can really talk. It was like a switch flipped on to all this hard work. It was just, just like waiting for it all to kind of come together all at once. Psst, switch went on. He could talk. He could read. A couple of years ago, I emailed him about his story because I love to tell his story. It's the best. And I emailed him and I says, asked some question. He says, oh, he was in Afghanistan at the time. Okay. And he says, man, these tribal sheikhs, they love, he said they're so amazed at my Arabic. They just want so much to be able to, Muslims, non-Arab Muslims really, really want to be able to, to do Arabic. And they were just in awe of what he could do. He said, was he learning Dari or what was it?
Dari.
Dari? Yeah. He says, man, learning Dari is so much easier than Arabic. And I thought, maybe. Maybe, or maybe it's something else that's going on, right? Maybe it's something else. So I just want to tell you that story because if you had looked at, I'll bet that Ahmed was more like, he started back here, and I'll bet he didn't make advanced high on his trip to Jerusalem, right? And we were starting out with students who were not as far along as you are. And that's not a lot of ground to cover in that trip to Jerusalem. But he was unfazed. He knew what he wanted to do and just kept laser focus. And I'll bet there weren't any mental health days. Ask him. Anyway, nothing against mental health days. We're all big on mental health. But sometimes that mental health day is just a way of saying, I don't feel like getting out of bed, right? Instead of just saying, you know what, I don't feel like getting out of bed, but I'm going to go to class. I'm just going to go to class, do what I can, do the best I can, and there you go. So, the moral of the story. The moral of the story is you have picked a winning horse. We have nobody, we have never had a student who did not make tremendous progress. And the people who kept showing up to class every day, one of my favorite stories is this history major with no prior, psych major. There's also a good history major story, but that's another one. So the psych major who has no significant language learning experience and struggles through 201, 202, but is just doggedly used can-do statements. Hope you've been introduced to those. We'll talk more about those. Doggedly just use can-do statements and chug it away. And she covered just amazing ground. I mean, she was a lot like Zach's dad. It was sort of like she just got better and better and better and better. So if you fancy that you're not a very good, you fill in the blank. Oh, I'm not very good at learning grammar or vocabulary or my pronunciation, whatever it is that you. That is today. That is not tomorrow, right? Your brain's an amazing thing, and this is a cool opportunity for you to see, man, what can I do? So, we are just publishing a study in a major journal on our cortisol. You know about, some of you know about the cortisol. So hair keeps a record of, your hair keeps a record of how much cortisol is in your bloodstream. So we can take, anyway, you can take a sample of your hair and you can know, cortisol measures two different things. It measures engagement. So if you're really interested, then cortisol levels are going to go up. If you're super stressed, they're going to go up even farther. And if you're like a post-traumatic, if you're in a traumatic sort of situation, they go through the roof. So a little bit of cortisol, good sign. Much more than that, not a good sign. Okay, here's the story. The more cortisol students had in their hair before they went to Jordan, the worse things were in Jordan in terms of outcomes. Okay? So, we'll talk more about this. But it's paying attention to your ability to deal with stress right now is the time to start. Okay? So if you're really stressing out about things, I've written some messages to you that for example, I've suggested it might be a good idea to think about dropping that extra job. And I know, okay, that's between you and the Lord, but you should take that up. Definitely take that up with the Lord. I know one of you in here can give testimony. That was a really smart thing to do, and I was so tickled to see how well that person did on their midterm. So anyway, sorry, we'll get more to that. But I'm going to send you information on how to get into the center, what do they call it? Anyway, where you can learn about breathing techniques here. And if you haven't done that, and you have a little time now, that would be a great thing to do. So, okay. Let's talk about a day. Any questions? Nobody dares. Okay, I just want to go home. Let's talk about a day in the life of a student in Oman. So, I'm on the camera.
Here, can you,
Jared.
will you put this up on the screen? I don't know how to
yes.
work those things. I'm Jaren Dastrup. I will be one of your TAs for this semester. I've gotten to know a number of you, and I'm excited to get to know the rest of you. I also like the ones
I don't
haven't
have
gotten
the
to know.
right adapter for your machine.
Oh, no.
So can you send that to me? Can you just take a PDF or something?
Yeah, we could also do this another time if you want, or we can do it.
No, they want to know what their life is going to be
Alright.
like. You don't care, right? Last time people were, for some reason they were angry because we didn't tell them what they were doing in Jordan until they got there. So we decided, okay, we'll tell them. While we're waiting for Jared, let Lenny want
I'm good. I sent it to you.
okay.
Well, Lynn can also go right now.
We'll have Lynn. You send it to me?
Yeah. First, a couple of logistical items. Who here is not part of the Slack group? If you don't know what that is, then you're not part of it.
You're all supposed to be slackers.
All be Slackers with me. If you are not part of that Slack group, did you not receive, so this is Slack, did you receive my email that included a link at the bottom of how to join Slack?
When did you send it?
So Ustaz sent it out 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Yeah, I mean,
To the list that we
People
have.
are
So there
talking
might
to
have
me
been for
like-
people who didn't finish the application or we didn't have their email at that time. So I'm going to send it out again, but be aware that this will be, not this, Slack, will be the communication, dissemination method for the program. And actually after this meeting, I'll put together one more email reminding everyone that that's how we'll get information out to people, and we will no longer be using email to send you updates or tell you to remember stuff, that sort of thing. Yes?
What about spouses who aren't part of their program?
Also on that. Yep, that's great. There's going to be different channels. There'll be like a channel for general discussions, a channel for urgent stuff from the leaders. That means that you can have a notification. Your notifications are all customizable. We can, like, you can come to me and we can work on it if you want. But this makes it so that you can get alerts for the things that are important for you, and we don't get like a bunch of different means of communication and everyone getting different messages and not knowing what's important and what's not.
For those of us who haven't been getting it, can we go back and read
Yes.
those older messages?
You can. We will also be using, if you've used Dropbox before, Dropbox is a file sharing system. Box is the BYU like free service that's provided to all the students, and I've sent an invite out to everyone whose email that we have. So please make sure that you got that, and if you didn't, please reach out to me, and I'll make sure that there isn't an issue with the email that we have for you, that sort of thing. Now, a day/week in the life of you. I took a week from back when I was in Jordan, and I adjusted a little bit to show you some of the stuff that I was doing. The things in light blue are your like scheduled classes. So if you'll see in the morning, I have a presentation or a writing appointment. And the presentation appointments are 3 days a week. I am, what? Sorry, that's not a question.
That's just early.
Maybe, yes. Yep. And you'll be doing presentations either in spoken dialect or in more formal Arabic. There's various topics that you will either choose, you'll be given them by the TAs, and you'll have a partner that you present to, and they'll give you feedback and you'll work together to make it better. And then you will give those presentations again on the last day of the week, Thursday, and you'll be doing this every week as something to help you improve on your presentation skills and to have one-on-one coaching with prepared material. 2 days a week you'll have writing appointments where you'll prepare something on a topic, so maybe you'll have like a mock news article or a mock resume or an opinion piece, various things that will help you improve your writing. And the most important thing there is to just push yourself and come with something. It doesn't have to be like 5 pages. I hope you're not turning in 5 pages, but I guess you could if you're really driven and finding time somewhere. But it's about finding something that helps you improve at your level, and that's what these individual appointments are really good for. Each day there will be a BYU class.
Let's talk about the writing appointments, just to say that the second writing appointment is an improvement on the first
Yes.
one. So it's not a brand new assignment, it's a second draft of that.
Yeah,
first
so
one.
the review process is going to be really important for both presentation and writing, to go back in and say, this is what I've changed. Did I understand those revisions? Here's something I want to push myself more, some structures I'm not familiar with, those sorts of things. And they're great opportunities that you can really use to maximize your Jordan experience. The BYU class every day is more free-flowing. That will be all of us together. They'll often include portions of our daily newspaper reading assignments where we'll be, your D-days and intensives that you're doing now. So we'll be doing similar things each day. And we'll come together, and a portion of the BYU class will be about looking at our translation and going over the structures there. It can be dealing with issues that people are dealing with in the program, their specific questions. It can be, usually once a week, we try and get together to make sure that everyone is doing well, to address like concerns that people have. Lynn often leads very helpful discussions when you're dealing with it. Like, there's a lot of stress on a study abroad, just like new environment outside of the language that's helpful to deal with. But that will like kind of adapt as the needs of the program change. So that will be more free-flowing as the semester goes on. Then you have issues class, where we break off into smaller groups, and those will be 5 to 10 people in each class, and you'll meet with your professor who is a teacher at COSID, they're Arab, and these classes will be all in Arabic, talking each week, going through different issues within society, and you'll get homework for this, like talking to Arabs outside of class about those issues, discussing them, maybe having debates, maybe giving like more formal presentations, and really working together within that smaller class context to have discussion and a more elevated discourse. And then your last formal like scheduled thing is your speaking appointment that you'll have every day. That's once again one-on-one, and that is whatever you want to make it. Some people went in and said, this is the topic I want to talk about, let's do this. Other people went in and said, hey, can I like go through different ways of saying this idea, or I have like a goal of being able to like order food, or I want to be able to explain nuclear proliferation, or I want to talk about my opinion on Israel-Palestine. Like you can do all of these things, however you want to tailor it to benefit you. And then there's lots of other time. On Fridays we'll have church. There's lots of food built in because that's what I do. Something that you do each day is you spend 2 hours outside of class talking in Arabic to natives. That's kind of your prerogative how you're going to do that. Some people went to the university campus every day and just said, I'm going to talk with students here for 2 hours, and I'm going to go home and do my homework, and I'm going to go eat delicious food, and that's my daily schedule. It's a really good daily schedule. I'm not great at like approaching people and saying like, hey, let's talk about this. So I found like other things. I got involved, they're kind of down here so you can't see as much. I got some pretty close friends that were shop owners in various districts, and I just go talk with them while they were working. I got involved in a film discussion group. I joined.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's a really great film scene in Amman that if anyone likes film here, they should get involved with. I played on an ultimate club that met weekly, and my sister and I, who's also in the program, we ended up playing for the Team Palestine in the MENA regional tournament. So we're basically a big deal.
And then they got to meet Team Palestine in Bethlehem.
Yeah, and then when we were in Bethlehem, when I was in Bethlehem for the Palestine-Israel portion, I saw some of my team members. I got to like go and see them, and it was fun. Saturday, we sometimes will have trips as a program. Other times you'll have the day to, like you can go visit the Citadel in Amman. You can have a barbecue with your friends. There's a lot of food options in my life. So that questions about that weekly like layout. It's like I've got a lot of stuff on there, and I think that you can do a lot of fun stuff while managing your time to have enough time to do everything that you need to.
So sometimes in class, it's hard when I'm paired with somebody who's like way advanced for my speaking level. Are these issues classes based on like, we're gonna be with people who are about our same level, or is it gonna be kind of the same things that we have now?
Yes, you're divided up by levels. They do roughly.
Yeah. And there will always be like these feelings, like some people have on days, some people have off days, so you're never going to be like with someone you're always meeting out perfectly, but we try and make sure that you are both pushing each other. Good. Other questions about the daily schedule? All right, one other logistical thing, with the box that I shared you all to, I have put a folder in it that is prep class materials. In that prep class materials, there are 3 documents. One, the non-proselyting document, which you all have, and a lot of you have already turned in, which is great. There is the gym form, which is only for people who are going to be going to the Jerusalem Center. If they want to work out in the gym of the Jerusalem Center, you actually have to have this form signed off by a doctor. So if you want to be able to work out there, you need to get that signed. The last document is very important, and it's passport information, because I need from each and every one of you some of the information from your passport for travel reasons, both getting to and from Jordan, but also once we're in Jordan itself and traveling there. There's a document with information that I need. I need you to either send that to me on Slack in a direct message, or to give it to me in written form. That's like your passport number, expiration date, start date, where you're born, when you were born. It's pretty basic information, but we're gonna need it before the end of this program, and we will work out some kind of like incentive structure to get you to do that. I don't know if that will be like punishment or like hummus rewards, but something along those lines. That is logistics I need you all to know for right now. You're a week in the life. Good on that. When we talk about expectation stuff, or turn the time over to Lynn? I'm fine with that.
Go ahead.
All right. I think that it's cliche to say you won't know everything after this program, so I'm going to assume that you understand that. I'm going to assume that you know it's like we're lifelong learners, it's going to be a process that goes on. All of those things are important to understand. With that, I think it's important for you to see like two like dangers that are like unproductive. The first is getting a month into the program and saying, I don't know Arabic, I'm done. That's not going to help you learn Arabic in the program itself or long run. Getting frustrated by what you lack instead of appreciating your progress. The other danger at the other side is getting a month in, being like, well, no one knows Arabic perfectly, so we'll all just coast along, see how many falafel we can fit in our mouth.
How many can you?
I stopped at 10.
We had a contest.
We had a contest.
I thought it was a lot more than 10. It looked like a lot more than 10.
Well, so we were doing Chubby Bunny with falafel, and I could fit 10 and still say it. So.
Let me give you just an illustration of I remember in Jerusalem that there were two kinds of students that I had in '89. I've seen this ever since. There were the students who majored in talking to shopkeepers and being able to, of course, we don't have this situation so much, but they would kind of show off their Arabic. They would take young women from the center who didn't speak Arabic, and they would take them shopping, and they would show how they could, barter and that sort of thing. They were very good at bartering, but that's about all they could do. And then there were these other students who never, ever did that try and show off sort of thing. They made friends in the village across the street. They sat out at night until the stars, had long since come out, talking with their friends. And those friends, 30 years later, still remember them. And they had an amazing cultural experience. So, and you gotta, you do what you can. You can't, you are where you are. But if you keep pushing yourself every day, it's amazing what you can add to your repertoire. Or you can play comfortable and, watch a lot of Netflix and,
That is an option. I wouldn't advise it though.
Go with Jaron to the film
go with
festival.
me to the film festival.
Yeah.
My goodness. Because most of the film festivals have screenings and then discussions in Arabic afterward about the films. So that was something I do for like part of my 2 hours each day. It was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna talk about films. In the context of like, are we pushing ourselves too much or not enough? Are we expecting too much or too little? I didn't see anyone on our program that was consistently on one of those sides. Like I didn't see anyone that was always slacking off. Like they were always like, well, I'm done. And someone who was always pushing themselves too hard. And see people who, like, this is something that we vacillate between. And also I think like this like nagging thought that we have in the back of our heads on this idea of like this person shouldn't be looking around is like, yeah, that's what you tell us because we're bad at the language. Like this person can look around because they're doing awesome. And my experience is that that's actually not true. That the people who I perceived as being the very best at the language were struggling as much or more with these feelings of inadequacy or these feelings of I failed my expectations. So it's not enough just to say that like, oh, people who are bad shouldn't compare themselves. It's that when we compare ourselves, we don't view ourselves clearly, we don't view others clearly. But there are ways to deal with that, and hopefully we'll talk more about this as the program goes on. I think that something that's very helpful is breaking down your goals into tasks that you can work towards. Can-do statements were brought up. It's a great tool where this is something that's used to help people prepare for the OPI, something like, I can introduce myself. I can talk to someone about where they're from. And as you go like further on in the levels that we're trying to hit, you encounter more difficult topics. Like I can discuss like a variety of societal issues like pollution and recycling and war. And those are tasks that you can identify and say, I'm not feeling great, but this weekend or this week, I can learn how to say that. All of you right now are where you can start working towards those kind of goals. You can choose can-do statements. So when you're feeling down, like you're not making progress, choose something that you don't feel comfortable on in a can-do statement or a task that you can complete or you can learn how to do and work towards that. Those kind of exercises are going to help you see your progress and also make that actual progress. And we'll continue talking more about this. This prep course is hopefully going to contain the tools to help you hit Jordan like running, hit the ground running in Jordan, don't hit Jordan the country itself. And I think it's a new experience. There's going to be stress, but it's exciting. There's so much fun stuff, and everyone that went had a great time, and we all like go through ups and downs, and as like a group, we're able to make this a better experience for everyone. Questions about anything that I've said, from logistics to daily week to how excited I am to see you do awesome. Good.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. So I was going to spend a little bit of time talking about some things having to do with the Abrahamic covenant and some interesting prophecies about Jordan, but I think I'm going to save that for a little bit. But you have seen, I hope you've seen my email message about Abrahamic covenant, and you've been paying attention in Sunday school or reading and so forth. We'll post it if you haven't. Big deal though is if you, I need to do interviews with everybody going, spouses and students. If you're not able to register for this class, then for some reason I don't understand that we have completed an interview. Okay, so we need to talk. Your spouse signs up just like you do with the same Kennedy Center website, and I think that's about it. I think we'll call her good for today. Great to get going, and we'll see you next week, inshallah.